This is Visual Frameworks, Project 2. My name's Michelle. Problems I encountered are things that were harder than I thought. I had issues applying some styles because of inheritance. When I applied styles to my text boxes, it was applied to my range and turned my range from a slider to a text box in Firefox. Found a JavaScript fix for that. I had padding set on the select elements before I ended up creating them dynamically. They showed up on every browser except Safari with the padding. I couldn't figure out how to style the select field once it was dynamically created. I'm sure I'll be able to figure out later. I just ran out of time doing other fixes. Because I had two select fields, I had trouble with placement of the select fields. They place side by side on the form and not in the proper place on the page. That was fixed when I saw that I had both set with the same ID. One definite lesson I learned is to watch for my use of semicolons. I was too liberal with semicolons in some areas, and in others left them out completely where they were needed. Things I discovered were easier than I thought would be. I found some cool code to give my text boxes a gradient. I also found some JavaScript code that fixed the issues with the range slider tool not showing up in Firefox. What do I think of CSS so far, or what is one thing I have learned about CSS that I didn't know? I was already familiar with CSS from my previous degree in web development, but I found that you can use CSS to style dynamically created fields, and I found some cool CSS codes to add rounded edges to boxes. Tell how I think local storage is a benefit or disadvantage to my users. One advantage of local storage is that data is still available when the browser window is closed and reopened, and I found that to be true when I had issues with the data displaying in my browser window, and I was refreshing and testing and retesting, and I would find that my data was still in the local storage even after closing the window. Here's just a small snippet of my code. Here is the top half of my form and the bottom half. Here is some of my output. I did have issues, and I'm sure I'll be able to fix it at a later date. I just ran out of time. My select fields were showing up, but obviously the data that was picked did not show up on my form field, and of course my radio button, even though I did select a field, it showed up null. When I have more time, I'll have to review the code and see what went wrong. In closing, I'd like to thank Full Sail University for letting use their logo, GarageBand for the music in the background, and Duarte's 5 Rules presentation tip.